Good morning, Jamaicans.com. What's up to all of my people watching? It's your hostess with the mostest, Suzette Speaks. I am coming to you live from where we Sunrise, Florida, in the offices of a chiropractor who happens to be my brother. Shout out to Dr. Mela at Core Health Chiropractic for being one of our sponsors today. And I'm here with this gorgeous woman celebrating the holidays on what is this? Poinsettia. Yeah. We tried to set the scene. It is holiday time here in the U.S. And we want to first of all say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays for whoever is celebrating and what they're celebrating. We are here to get to know this beautiful woman next to me. Her name is Miss Andrea Hall. She is the director of a foundation here in South Florida called Shak's Hope. We're going to go to shakshope.com to learn more about the foundation, but she's going to tell us how it all started. So say good morning to the people. Want to drop a comment? Please don't be rude. Drop a comment, like, and share. We love when you leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Hey, good morning.
Good morning,
How
Suzette.
are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks
Girl,
for having me.
Of course, we got the cameras finally set up and everything. Sorry for the delay. But yeah, tell us about you. Thanks for being on.
First of all, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm really happy to spread any kind of awareness with sickle cell. And I admire this lady so much. So I just can't wait. I'm happy to do this today.
We appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that, I should say. So tell me about Shak's Hope Foundation. For those who don't know her, she has a phenomenal story. Very, very, what should I say, heartfelt story because of a loss she experienced. And I don't want to, I feel like I minimize it when I say it that way. Anybody who has experienced the loss of a child will tell you there's no end date in your healing process. There's no, oh my gosh, I'm over it. No one wants to ever bury a child. So when it happens in reverse, we get a lot of, I guess you should tell us the feeling and the emotional processing of what you've experienced.
I think some of the hardest parts is when people say, it's nice that you're keeping her memory alive. And I go, like she's still here, they say. And I go, but she was.
Right. No, and I sometimes don't think people understand what their words are saying. Exactly, like she's.
Or they'll say, you're so strong. And I'll say, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice.
These are the cards life dealt you. So it's a crazy thing, and nobody really wants to. I realized I was actually just talking to my cousin. Now, very fortunate, and I'm not bragging. I give God the praise. That I haven't really had super great tragedy. I've lost uncles to Alzheimer's in their older age, and it hurts just the same. But having somebody taken away from you at such a young age, 30. I think it's at 30 years old. I think it's something that it's hard to process if you haven't gone through it. And I'm glad you're here to kind of explain what you went through. Go ahead and if you would. I'm using her phone, guys, so she's gonna let me log in and see who is checking in. Please leave a comment, please like and share. Again, Miss Andrea Hall, director of Shak's Hope Foundation. So tell me about when you found out. Did you know from birth that your daughter had sickle cell?
I found out when I was pregnant that I had sickle cell trait. And so this is why we fight so hard now to get people to know their status, because my mother had 9 siblings, and I'm the only person that has a child with sickle cell in the entire family.
Wow.
Now, can you imagine when I found out I was positive, then her dad had to be tested, and he also was positive. So then I went to genetic counseling and to learn about sickle cell.
Right.
And I found out, okay, so if you have 4 children, 1 out of 4 of your children could have it. I have 1 normal cell, 1 abnormal cell. Shakira, unfortunately, my first child, took both abnormal cells. So that's how she ended up with sickle cell SS.
Wow.
There are many, many different types. She just happens to had the worst one. I have a son, Kishai. He's 2 years younger. He has the trait as well. So with Shakira, it was a rough journey. A lot of admissions, a lot of blood transfusions, a lot of going to the school to talk to teachers, to get people to understand what it's like to live with an invisible disease. Just imagine you look normal on the outside, but your body's creating havoc constantly in pain, chronic pain, to the, strokes, gallbladder removal, spleen removal. I mean, it's really, really complicated. So regarding Shak's Hope,
before we go there, because I think it's very important, 2 points that you just made, getting genetic testing.
Yeah.
People of color have a higher chance of this particular disease.
Yeah.
So I think that's first and foremost. If you're not only we happen to be from Jamaica, in the Caribbean, in Africa, sickle cell, from what I've read, developed as our like body's defense.
It was like a special gene initially, because if you survived malaria, you had sickle cell trait.
Right.
So those people lived, but I guess due to slavery,
exactly,
people were moved to different areas. So all those traits were moving to different places, and when 2 traits got together,
exactly,
that's when the chance.
So we weren't getting malaria anymore,
right,
and it wasn't used as a defense to malaria. But when 2 people with that same
right,
trait produce a child, here the body is trying to basically protect itself and attacks
right,
its own cells.
So in this country, 1 out of 10 people of color have sickle cell trait. So that number is very large, and worldwide, more Mediterranean people have sickle cell than any other group.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but
Mediterranean meaning
yes,
Italian,
Greek, Italian,
wow,
the Maldives, India.
When I think sickle cell, I think a person of color. So I didn't think of
warm climate countries,
wow,
where malaria breeds. Right? So in the Caribbean, I think it's about 1 out of 15, but then there are different strains of it.
Okay.
For instance, I work with somebody that's of Greek descent that has thalassemia trait.
Wow.
Thalassemia and sickle cell trait will make a full sickle cell baby.
Wow.
So it's about
the
knowing
genetic testing is super, super important. Now, when you learned that both you and your husband had the trait, was there any fear in your mind, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be that 1 out of 4?
Every day. And they told me that I shouldn't have the baby, I should have an abortion, that she wouldn't live till 12.
Yeah.
And I said no, I wouldn't take that chance. I mean, by the time I would find out, I was already 3 or 4 months pregnant.
Deeper into the pregnancy.
Now you can find out much earlier. There are so many things that they've done that you can actually find out that your baby has the disease early in
wow.
And that's a choice that anybody wants to make.
So even in that early stage, so you didn't know, you didn't have, the technology was not there to even know back in that time. So you have a child that is constantly going into the hospital. So tell us about some of the symptoms. I know you said she had a gallbladder removed and other surgeries and strokes. Why? What's going on in the body and what's causing that?
Well, the fact that your cells would look like this,
a circle.
So I had these were my cells. So because her cells were like this,
curving.
When they would become sticky, when they would go into crisis and lose oxygen, so it couldn't pass through the tiny capillaries. So wherever it would stop would create pain.
Absolutely.
So because of lack of oxygen, and hydration is extremely important with sickle cell patients. She would have constant back pain. That's where the crisis would be. So sometimes the only thing they could do, because there's no cure, is to get admitted. You get an IV where they just flush your system with fluids and give you pain medicine. Wow. That is it. Things have changed a little bit today, but back then it was just
very
pain
hard
medicine.
To treat. And I've read that, and I've hosted other sickle cell events where people have said that doctors, especially those who are not trained to treat people with sickle cell, when you're arriving at the emergency room with someone with sickle cell, they think that you're exaggerating the amount of pain, or that you're feeling, something.
Think you're seeking drugs.
That you're trying to get on drugs. And it's not that at all. This is some real, I don't think people can even really understand.
This is how it looks. This is how it looks. So Shakira and I would talk about it. We'd be in the ER and she would go like this. And so we would know. And it's sometimes nurses of color.
Yeah.
Right? Because
they wouldn't even understand. Yes.
So they would go like this. So you're here, and they would just give a look like this, up and down.
Yeah.
And they think you're seeking.
That's
and meanwhile, the medicine barely touches the surface of the pain. It just helps them through. When they come out, it's another 2 weeks before they get back to themselves.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about all that she was able to accomplish. Yeah. This was a phenomenal young lady, guys.
A warrior.
Tell us more about what she went to college. Yeah. She did all kinds of things. Tell us about her life, because she lived a full life in spite of all of this.
Yeah, she never suffered socially. She was always really resilient, love animals, love people. She was kind of like the mother of the pack.
A natural leader.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I remember she was a preschool teacher, always loved children. And then one day she said to me, I'm going to go ahead and enter Miss Mammy Broward Carnival, right? I said, okay.
A pageant here locally in South Florida.
And she did that, and she came in like first runner-up. And then the next year, she said, oh, I spoke with my friend Yendi, and I'm going to enter Miss Jamaica. And I'm like, really? What do you know about beauty pageants?
Exactly.
You're a preschool teacher.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something. I watched that girl develop into, because they really grow and become a woman through that during the year.
Yeah, hold on before you say, because the people that are thinking I'm being rude. Kelly Brown, good morning. Miss Trisha Sang, good morning. Hi. Rochelle, you have sickle cell trait. Thank you for sharing, Rochelle. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Please drop a comment. Thank you to Cheryl. Thank you for sharing our stream here. And we have quite a few other people watching, and I appreciate you watching and liking and sharing. So we're going to keep on with Miss Andrea Hall. She is the director of Shak's Hope. You can find it Shak, SHAKS, hope.com. This wonderful foundation was founded because her daughter had sickle cell trait. Eventually, it took her from us, but the work continues. So she's talking about Shakira and the life she lived. Yeah. So she decides, you said, talk to Yendi, and this is the Yendi that won Miss Jamaica?
Yeah, Yendi was her friend. And
okay, so she's like, come on, enter her.
So she went ahead and did it, and she always said it was the worst year and the best year of her life. And, you know, those memories and how she went through that, it was her platform, sickle cell. So, of course, she became a Jamaican citizen. She moved to Jamaica.
For real?
Yeah, she adopted the unit at the University of the West Indies. She did a toy drive.
Wow.
And here we are off to Brazil to Miss Universe.
Oh my
she
God.
won.
Yes, can you imagine? So she won Miss Jamaica and went to Miss Universe, which is incredible. This is what a person who didn't have that much pageant experience. See what happens when you believe in yourself. And when you get dreams, when stuff is dropped into your spirit, I do believe those are God messages. Don't ignore those things. Even when we don't understand, mommy doesn't quite say, okay, well, sure. But I believe in you. Exactly. I believe in you, but I don't know how that kind of came into your mind, but that's okay.
Some of the things that I remember the most is her saying, I want them to have the best toys because they're sick all the time. I don't want them to have anything from the dollar store. When you're in chronic pain, it's the little things that matter. Absolutely. The things we take for granted is everything to a person in pain.
Wow.
One day she came to the hospital to deliver the toys, and she got volunteers, and she's limping because she had a hip replacement. And a little girl that's 5 had her picture from the newspaper, and she was just waiting. And I said to her, now that is motivation. Absolutely. Because she too can do anything at the age of 5. Here's your dream. Don't let sickle cell stop you.
Absolutely. So again, shout out to all the people whose lives are touched by this horrific disease. I know there's research being done with better ways to treat it and perhaps even cure it. I've heard about stem cell transplants and things like this. There's some cutting edge, but I think first and foremost, I hope that governments around the world will spend more money doing the research that is necessary to figure out why people get this and how we can, well, we know why, but how to cure it and to better treat the pain of it. To see someone like Shakira did that was so brave to show others with the disease, look at me. I'm constantly in pain. You got a hip replacement underneath, you know, not an old person, a young person having to do all these surgeries.
Towards the latter part of the pageant when she was getting ready to crown the next girl. She was there in Jamaica, and at the time, the girl in her year that won Miss Universe was from Angola. And she just said to her, just push me a little bit. Because when she was in heels, the limp wasn't that bad. So here she is taking her final walk. She pushes her, and I'm thinking, And then we came up to get the hip replacement. But she never allowed herself to be a victim of that disease. And I'm telling you, for most of the patients, I have a lot of them on my page, it's where it affects them here as well.
Yeah, and it affects the family. Talk about that, the mental struggle.
It's the depression. It's absolutely. The fact that why me? Why am I in pain? It's the caregiver, your mom that's going to the hospital over and over. Sometimes some of them, the adult patients, have no one. But, so with Shak's Hope.
Yes, so talk about it. Let's go into what you're doing now as her legacy.
So this was her brainchild.
Yes, she founded it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She started the cause in January of 2016.
Okay.
And in August of that year, at the age of 30, her 30th birthday, she lost her battle to complications due to blood clots.
Oh my God.
So in lieu of her legacy, in preserving that in the way she would have wanted things, We are about the feel good. It's really about, she used to say, if you give your money to research, it kind of goes to cyberspace.
Yeah, yeah.
So we support patients here in South Florida, and we support patients in Jamaica. We do a an Easter treat in Black River every year, and Montego Bay.
Wonderful.
We're closely associated with the sickle cell unit. So what we try to do is to provide a day of fun. Yes. Toys, toiletries, food. Yes. Really letting them know you're not alone and we are here.
And they don't have access to that in Jamaica and Black River, Bay, and to the facilities and treatments and painkillers sometimes that we have in the United States. So it's wonderful to go back and to bless those young kids that have this disease through no fault of their own, to understand there are people that love them and people that care and are thinking about them.
I think it's really important to just be compassionate. Know your status. You can meet somebody. You don't have to tell them the first date. But you'll be like, I'm Andrea.
Yes.
I love to dance and I love Prosecco. Yes. But I have sickle cell trait.
Exactly. Please know. And I wonder how many people out there really do know. We talk about blood type and all those other things. But we're checked for even sexually transmitted diseases. But do we check for sickle cell, guys? Yeah. It's something that you got to look on.
Simple prick.
Yeah, and on the spectrum of things, it may seem like, but if you're saying 1 out of 10 people of color in the U.S. has this trait, is huge. That's huge. Yeah. And marrying somebody with the trait makes all the difference. Yeah. I have cousins in New York as well that they, first of all, they look very young. They almost carry like a baby face. Yeah. Well into their 40s with the sickle cell. Thank God they're still alive and fighting the battle. But I find that it makes you look very, very youthful in a different type of way because of the complications of the disease. You're always in the hospital, though. I think that's something that people don't, the family members play a part in that. So do you do anything to support those folks and the caregivers?
Absolutely. Like even last week, when was it? Monday and Tuesday, we went to Broward Health here, and we gave out toys, and I gave toys to the caregivers too, the moms. And we're working on, we have something called Shak's MVPs, where we have Nintendo systems and snacks. Aww. And we want to go in, and we have a little doggy that was Shakira's dog, Mila. Aww. So we're working on something to go in regularly to perform pet therapy and be with them and let them know, hey, we're here. Let's have some fun for a couple of hours.
Exactly. Well, I'm so proud of all the work. I think you probably don't hear it enough. But the community needs this type of awareness, guys. This is not something that is an isolated type disease. If you don't know someone with sickle cell, probably someone you know definitely knows someone affected by this disease. It is still, like I said, something that we have to talk about more so that research and other attention gets placed on these folks that have this disease. I think.
And remember, it's not about pity. It's about awareness.
Absolutely.
I have many friends. I eat lunch every day with somebody that has sickle cell, and the only person that knew up to 2 years ago was my boss and myself.
Wow.
So I said, talk it out. Yeah. Let people know. Because when you're invisible and pain, it's hard for people to relate.
Absolutely.
Because they can't see. So we have to let them know and let the caregivers know that we're here for them as well.
Absolutely. Andrea, tell us where we can find more information about Shak's Hope. Oh, you have a big event. Hold on. Get the big event in before we go. Get the big event in. What is the big event coming up? Or events?
So we just had our toy drive, which was amazing. We collected we collected over 400 toys. And we're going to be shipping to Jamaica in about January, February. So we need hoodies, sweaters, light blankets, any of those things, pashminas to take, and toiletries. But we have our first Shak's Hope brunch. Oh, it's going to be on, I'm so excited.
Sucky now. Brunch time, ladies.
It's going to be March 8th.
Wonderful.
And it's going to be from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. It's going to be at the Long Nature Center in Davie, Florida.
That's a beautiful site. Yeah, people don't know. I already have visions of a wedding there, but I'm not sure if it was mine. But I just said that is a beautiful site here in Broward County. But Miss Andrea Hall, last but not least, if you don't know, on her other hat, as most women have, more than one hat, she also sells jewelry. That's where you get the Fandangles, because we were going to talk about it, but I was like, you got to mention it.
I do a monthly sip and shop at the house, Aki Brunch, Aki and Wine.
Okay.
So this is one of the things that I would be able to sell. It's a Jamaican designer, Mijan, inherited, that I have. These are trinkets by Gina that I'm also wearing. So I carry other local items, but it's Fandangles is about little this, little that,
Okay.
different things, 1 or 2 of each item. I also market a rum punch.
Okay.
Called Andy's Fun Punch.
Okay.
That's available
I want
as well
some.
for the holidays.
Perfect for the holidays.
And I'm also a part of a Caribbean group called Sundown. So we're Trini, we're Bajan, and we're Jamaican. And yes, we can cross cultures as Caribbean people. We have our thank you party
Caribbean, yeah.
next week, Friday at Crave. No cover, come on out.
So I will be there. So in case you are in South Florida, please do support. Let people know where they can find more information about you, the brunch, and everything that Shak's Hope is doing.
So you can follow us on Instagram at Shak's Hope. Also, we have a Facebook page, Shak's Hope, and we have our website, shakshope.com.
Love you. Love you, sis.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for bringing awareness. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Jamaicans.com. We love you. Seeing you every Saturday. Please like, comment, and do share even after so that others can know about sickle cell.
Status,
yeah.
Status.
Love you guys. Suzette Speaks signing off. See you guys really soon. Take care.